Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Pirates Corner number 11. Welcome to my studio. This is your host, Rixx Javix, and every week I don't know what I'm doing. I don't actually, and sometimes I think when I come into these on the weekend, I start thinking about what am I going to talk about this week on Pirates Corner, and like everything goes in cycles. In Eve, the more you play, the longer you've played, the more you understand this. There's an ebb and flow to things. Time, commitment, real life versus game life, PvP content versus no content anywhere you can find, wars, lack of wars, resources, the market ebbs and flows, camps are there, then they're gone. We get used to certain things and then they disappear and then they come back, or it's just Eve is just one big wheel that keeps rolling around, and content's like that too. Sometimes I think, man, I've got so many topics to talk about, and then time comes to sit down in front of the camera like right now, and I am bereft of deep philosophical discussion points, and I think that is okay. I think that it's great actually, because I don't have a deep philosophical pirates ethics or what's behind the scenes of a war or what's going on with things to talk about this week. What I'd like to talk about is those cycles we were talking about and how they can come and bite you in the butt and bite you in the ass, and I would like to also mention, before I forget it, is that if you don't know, I have a Discord. The link is on my blog on the front page. It's the Evaganda Discord. It's not, I don't ping that Discord. It doesn't get pinged. It doesn't get, it's just a hangout. I like to think of it as this is where my friends hang out. And it's been around for a while, and I haven't really been using it all that much. And I've been thinking about it lately that I want to get it up and running and more active from my end too. The reason I started it in the first place was to have a place where people could get in touch with me easily. I always have emails. My email is rixjavix@gmail.com. If you're not familiar with it, you can email me anytime. You can reach me on Discord through DMs at Rixxjavix, all one word. That's pretty easy to remember. RIXXJAVIX. And you can reach me there, or you can reach me on my Discord at Evaganda. And like I said, the link is at evagandablogspot.com, my blog, which is also still going, still churning away. I'm not writing in it as much as usual, which pretty much means I'm writing in it 2, 3, 4 times a week. So that's less than usual. And if you would like to join Evaganda, it's open to anybody. Anybody can join. The moment that you start any kind of trouble or say something you shouldn't say, you will be kicked. But other than that, it's just a place for friends to hang out. And I've been going around every day inviting 3 or 4 new people on board as they come up. And for the most part, that's all there is to it, really. I post videos, I post links to blog posts as they come up. And sometimes I ask people for their opinions about things, content-wise. I had a poll up on the YouTube channel this week about Universal Geographic and the videos there. I appreciate everybody voting. I think we've had 12, 13, 14 votes so far, and I am going to use those to order those things. All 4 of those options are on the list of things to cover, but I'll prioritize them based on the votes. And I'm going to be doing that more often, asking you guys for your feedback. I am almost ready to start a new series of videos on tutorials or advice. I have a whole bunch of backlog of ideas. I wanted to get at least 15 or 20 of those written out in my notebook before I really plunged into that world. So that's going to be coming up soon. I have a very exciting commission that I'm working on right now, paid commission. So that's going to be taking some time. So videos will be a little slower than usual, but I'm still be doing shorts every day, and at least one major video every week, including this one. And this week on Tuesday, I am releasing another. Not that you're probably not all that excited about this one, but I am releasing another personal song that I wrote. I am revisiting memories of childhood and my heritage, and I'm expressing that revisiting through lyrics. And normally I would write something or compose a poem or something like that, but now that I have access to Suno, it has opened the door to a creative expression that has long been dormant. Someone asked me this week to explain a little bit more about my musical background, and I'll do that very briefly here, but I want to cover that more in depth. I was surrounded by music growing up. My grandparents both played the guitar, and they sang all the time. And so I was surrounded by music growing up. My parents loved music. My parents met at a in the 50s or early 60s, and they loved music, all kinds. Especially my mother loved all kinds of music, and so we were surrounded by music. I became involved early on with marching band and jazz band, particularly. I was not an orchestra. I became really pretty good at trombone and jazz band, and went to the University of Tennessee as a young lad, and was in their honors band, jazz band, and I marched in Washington, D.C. With the high school band, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So music's always been a part of my life, and I understand, love music, all kinds. And so this has been a little bit of a damn break, It's given me an opportunity because I've written songs before, mostly for commercial advertising. I wrote theme songs. I wrote songs for organ donation here in Pennsylvania, and other musical expressions. I played around with GarageBand a lot when it first came out, and a gentleman in my agency, a couple of gentlemen played guitar, and we composed a lot of things. I had another employee who had his own music label, and helped him with that. And he did digital ambient music, which is not my thing normally, but really good at it. And so lots of music around all the time. And so this is just another way for me to express memory and recollections from my childhood, and then turn those into songs, which is pretty cool. Especially now that I can record my own voice singing the song terribly, and then Suno will help me fix that. So it's not even 100% AI generated voice. It's based on my own voice, which is kind of cool. So it's got a little bit of me in it, which is nice. And of course, the lyrics, I spend a lot of time on working on those. So that's a lot of hard work on my part, getting the lyrics just right. But so whether you enjoy those or not, welcome to listen to them. So back to cycles. I had I had been having a really great run in Eve since the Frigate Free for All. I'd been doing really well, paying attention, minding my own business, getting into engagements, and having some really good fights. And I think you've seen that through some of the shorts. when I do remember to record, which is not always, sadly. There's nothing more disappointing in yourself than when you're like, oh my gosh, this was a really great fight. Oops, I forgot to record that one. It's always a bummer. Win or lose, honestly. There was a couple of fights last week where I lost. Well, not a couple of fights last week. There were only 3, and they were all on the same day. And that's what I want to bring up is, you can have a really great run, and sooner or later, Eve is going to catch up to you and teach you a lesson about humility. And that's what happened to me last week. I had a really, really strong run, and then end of the day on Thursday, I ran into a fight that I didn't win, and that was not a big deal. Then Friday, I decided to take my Tholos out. Excuse me, and that is still my first one that I bought. My Tholos, it has, I don't remember exactly, 74 kill marks on it, so it had a really nice run. And core mate of mine also brought their Tholos out, so we were together. There was a couple of other Stay Frosty people around, and we decided to go in a new direction and go down into a pocket that we don't always go to, and found a Gnosis. Found a Gnosis in a site with a lot of NPCs, and the Tholos is a destroyer. It's cloaky, and these sites are very cluttered. Lots of rocks and ice. This one had rocks and ice in it, and lots of NPCs flying around. So getting close to the Gnosis was very difficult, and my core mate was not on station yet, and I had backup a couple of systems away. So all I was doing was trying to just navigate my way a little closer. And unfortunately for me, I got decloaked in a position that I did not want to be in, and pointed by the Gnosis. And so I engaged, and my core mate showed up shortly after and tried to help me engage. And as a matter of fact, we were doing quite well against this Gnosis until his buddy in the Orthrus showed up, and that is not a good combination of events. So my core mate left. I told him to leave, and I basically lost the Tholos. So that was not a great start to Friday, and not a big deal. Like I said, I'm not shedding a tear over the Tholos. It had served very, very well. I love that ship. I'm having a blast flying it, and still learning it. It is not a completed mission yet, and I'll pick up another one and fit it up maybe slightly different. I have some ideas on how to fit it up even better, and we'll see how it goes from there. And then had a couple of good engagements after that in my vigil, and then ran into a blaster comet, which was, a rail comet, which was it's always a tough fight. I know when I'm flying my comet and I get into a fight with a Vigil Fleet issue, I am pretty confident that I'm going to be okay. And, on the other hand, I know exactly what I would do to combat that, but I didn't do that. And I fell right into that and got chewed up and lost that one. So then I was looking around my hangar, and I was like, I'm just going to take out the a Courser Navy. I haven't flown that in a long time, just for something different, and had a really nice fight with a Thrasher, and came out on the top of that one. And then I made a horrible mistake. I warped with a stiletto to a gate, which I never do that. And so then I'm sitting on the gate with the stiletto, and I have no option at that point. I know exactly what's coming. 75% of the time it's coming. It was a stiletto or a malediction, doesn't matter, same ship. And so here's what's coming. What I know is when I land on the gate is that if I try to warp off, I'm going to get pointed, and then a couple of other people are going to jump through the gate. And it is a micro warp drive Courser Navy, so not a afterburner fit, and that's not great for burning back to the gate. I'm going to get my propulsion mod shut off, and I'm not going to make it back. If I do jump through the gate, I have a very brief window of maybe warping away, but that's not in the cards this time. So that's the choice that I took. It's the highest probability of success, and I jumped through it jumped through with me, and I'm not getting away, not in that ship, and I'm not going to be able to burn back to the gate. So, and sure enough, yeah, Demos and something else I don't remember now, decloaked or arrived. I mean, and so at that point, all you do is point your ship at something and get your pod out. Ship gone. I mean, I did shoot back. Don't get me wrong. I don't give up, and I'm not sitting there doing nothing. I did shoot back, but that's kind of pointless. So that was my Friday. That was rough. But came back on Saturday. We had AFC'd our Stay Frosty fleet, and we went out for a couple of hours. The first hour was completely devoid of any content, and then it just slowly started building up, and then that last hour was just jam-packed full of content. So again, this is the way things go. Sometimes it lands in your favor, and sometimes it doesn't. And I just want you to know, if you've gotten this far, which thank you for watching. If you've gotten this far, I just want to encourage you to know that it's not just you. That's the way Eve is. It is not a game that you are going to win in 2 hours of playing. You're not going to win it in 18 hours of playing. You're not going to win it in a week or a month of playing. It is all the time grind, for good and bad. And the sooner that you get your head wrapped around the fact that it is just ongoing, and there are going to be ups and downs, hopefully more ups than downs. When I first started, there were a lot of downs, a lot of days of frustration, and this does not work. I don't understand this. A lot of questions in Corp chat. I can't even begin to tell you the amount of conversations about how these things worked, and what I find funny now is that, I've been playing for, it'll be 18 years now. And what I find funny is that in 2008, the game had only been out for 5 years, and so that is the bitterest vet that was around when I started playing. Was the bitter vet was 5 years old. It had been playing since 2003 when the game came out. If you started on day one, you were a 5-year vet, which I find quite hilarious now, because we all who were young players back then all thought of them as grizzled, and they knew the answers to everything. And honestly, they did not, because the game was changing so fast. It changed shortly after I joined the game. Sovereignty changed for the first, and it just kept going. Boom, 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 boom. Wormholes. Hey, here's some wormholes. Hey, here's this. Hey, here's that. And it just never ended. And that's a great feature of this amazing sandbox that we are all playing in. And but be of good cheer. It takes time. It takes commitment. It's an odd experience playing this game, being a player of EVE Online, and loving it and being passionate about it. And even me, has days that nothing goes right. And there are days when things go well, and there are days when things go extraordinarily well. And then there are days like that where it just seems frustrating, and nothing's going right. So, it happens. And that is, if you think about it, that is a feature, not a bug. If this game had been easily mastered, I wouldn't still be playing it. The fact that it can be very difficult to do something, or to get trapped, or to make a mistake and get caught, even now, that says something about the longevity and the ability of this weird universe of ours to continue to surprise even someone who's put in an amount of time that I have, and is just recently passed, within the last few weeks, past 350 million skill points trained, which I never thought I would live to see that day. So thank you all. Again, this was just a chat. I don't know whether anybody cares or anybody sat through the whole thing, but if you did, I appreciate you. And I will have themes and I will have subjects to talk about in the future. I am considering moving to a bi-weekly schedule. I mean, a bi-monthly schedule. Once every 2 weeks instead of every week. But for now, I'm going to stick to the weekly schedule. I was thinking, Safe Spot comes out 1 week and then Pirates Corner and then Safe Spot and Pirates Corner. Get into a rhythm like that. But for now, I'm not having a hard time finding something to talk about. So if you appreciate this, give us a like and subscribe. And I appreciate you, and I hope you have a great week. And I will see you in space.